Hello, welcome back to Too Long Didn't Play. If you haven't seen the first video in the series, I highly recommend you do so you will not be lost. But since we got all the introductions out the way in the last video, let's jump back in. Last time we left off at the Santa Monica beach. When you enter the beach, you're stopped by a woman who knows exactly where you're going. When questioned, she says we wouldn't understand and she just leaves. Okay then, Joaquin Phoenix. But whatever, we will talk to her later. On the beach, we meet some beach bums of different types. The first one asks us if we know who the head vampire is, thinking if the head dies, everyone will be human again. Obviously, that's not how this works, and that's not how the real world works either, so let's con this man for being so out of the loop. You can tell him a special steak will kill the head vampire and unicorn blood will make him human again, both of which you could sell him. The man agrees, and we will return later collect some motherfucking money from him. Although, for a vampire, he seems awfully oblivious to everything, which is kind of weird considering that you were almost killed for not having a sire, but hey, whatever, right? Oh well, let's move on. We meet a stuttering man who seems frightened of you. He doesn't really offer much conversation-wise, so let's leave him alone for now. Finally, we meet a shirtless man named E. And yes, I mean just the letter E. Kinda like V from Devil May Cry, but V is a lot hotter than E. So when we talk to E, he gets defensive and says they're not there to hunt and they only need the place for shelter. When you tell him you're not there to drive him off, E is very relieved and begins to fill you in on a very interesting subject. E is a vampire, but he's not a vampire like you. This won't be explained until later, so let's just get this out the way now. E is what you call a thin blood. Thin blood are vampires with diluted vitae. This is because as the generation of vampires go on, the younger the generation, the thinner the blood, which leads them to suffering from certain weaknesses such as not being able to use certain disciplines, or they are much physically weaker than most vampires. Although some are said to be less affected by sunlight than others. Moving on, E tells you the story of Lily, the young woman who embraced E and turned him into a thin blood. After learning what happened to him, E was furious with Lily and left her. But that was just in the heat of the moment and E regrets doing that. E wants you to find Lily, bring her back to him so she can know E forgives her. When asked about Lily's location, E says that she would hang out at a local diner and you should probably start your search there. Now that we're done talking to E, let's go talk to that strange woman we've met at the start. This is Rosa, and she seems to have a unique gift of seeing the future. Everything she tells you is very vague, but since I played the game multiple times, I can't confirm what she says does in fact hold truth to it. But we won't go over that because then that would kind of make the video pointless now, wouldn't it? Now that that's over, let's go investigate the oh my god, that dude got fucked up. Yeah, this dude ain't gonna be in Bloodlines 2. So there's nothing much to find out here, so let's just go ahead and get the Afterlife for Mercurio. When reaching the house, you have to talk to another shirtless dude who is a hell of a lot less cool than he was. You can easily convince, flirt, or intimidate your way in. And once inside, let's meet the seller. Oh, also you can find Mercurio's hidden money inside this little hidey hole. Meeting the seller, the dude is already a sleazebag. He'll try to flirt with you if you're female and says some really stupid shit. But anyways, when asked about the Astrolite, he becomes very suspicious since it's not every day someone tries to buy a big ass bomb. He's onto your partnership with Mercurio, and while you can easily talk your way out of it, I'm not gonna do that. I've played this game multiple times, and I've never killed this asshole myself, so you know what? Let's do it. With these jerks dead, let's finally return to Mercurio. Back at Mercurio's place, Mercurio? You good, buddy? Uh-oh. Oh, wait, okay, he's good, false alarm, we're good. We tell Mercurio we did our job, and just because we're nice, we also give Mercurio his money back. Cause, I mean, look at him, the dude nearly died on us. Now, we could finally raid the warehouse. Or, at least that's what we think. There's actually another complication, cause you know, this is a video game. Our informant is Bertram Tongue. He knows the location of the warehouse, and how he could get us in. But, unfortunately, Bertram decided to be a dumbass and piss off the wrong vampire. Therese Vorman. Mercurio lets you know that Therese is a power player in Santa Monica, as she and her sister Jeanette run a club called the Asylum. When speaking about Therese, there's an air of caution and respect in Mercurio's voice, and since we need to talk to her to get Tongue out of trouble, it'll do us some good to actually remember that later. However, when talking about her sister Jeanette, it sounds like she's the polar opposite of her sister. But again, we will see that for ourselves later. Before we do that though, let's go help E find his Lily. Going to the diner that he mentioned, we talk to the cashier and find out that Lily left her stuff. Through some snooping, we find a bail bond for a man named Rolf Toten. And no, not the dude from Edda and Eddie, which is the best cartoon of all time, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Oh yeah, in the corner of the diner, there's a man who doesn't seem very friendly and is not much for conversation. I say we should leave this guy alone because he's kind of scary, but I wonder if we'll ever run into him again. Down the street, there's a bail bond shop, and when we enter, we meet the owner. Oh shit, what the fuck? Okay, that was weird. This is Arthur Kilpatrick, owner of Kilpatrick Bonds. We can ask Arthur for some work, where he mentions that one of his bounty hunters has gone missing and would pay us if we can find him. We'll do it, but that's gotta wait a bit. Using Arthur's computer, we could find info about Rolf, saying that he has a red car parked in a parking garage. So going to the garage, we find his car, and pry that bad boy open, and inside we find a diary that belongs to Lily. Reading the diary, we find out that Rolf is Lily's sire, who he eventually abandoned because he's a total asshole. Since Lily hasn't been taught properly, she hasn't been able to feed, and she's getting desperate. She talks about a plan to raid the blood bank, which is located inside the hospital. Rushing over to the blood bank, we meet a smug little shit named Vandal. Vandal, like Nox, knows you're a vampire right off the bat because I guess fuck secrets in this town, right? And he mocks you for acting innocent. We let him know we need to go to the back, and after some resistance, we threaten him with a good old-fashioned "I'm gonna fucking murder you if you don't let me in" talk. Checking the back room, we don't see any signs of Lily until we meet another doctor. Playing it off like we're a regular, the doctor says the girl's in the freezer and gives us the code to get in. Going through the freezer, we find a young woman tied to a chair, as she is losing her mind. This is Lily, and we got to let her out. Unfortunately, when you let her out, this happens.
Oh, sweet mother of God!
Ah, shit. So at first, Lily is hyped as fuck that she sucked someone dry, but then she comes to her senses and starts to freak out. Here, we explain that the beast got control over her. The beast exists within every vampire, and it is a manifestation of their primal hunger. If you're not careful, the beast can take over, making you act on pure instinct and putting yourself in danger, cause you will be doing some masquerade violations when it takes over. After explaining that to Lily, we tell her about E, and she's so thankful that E wants her back. Now we can finally leave this place and fuck off, Vandal. So E and Lily get their happy ending, but something interesting comes up. Rosa, the psychic, mentions something big is going to happen soon, and it doesn't sound good, so E and Lily are leaving the city together. Well, good for them, and I guess bad for us, cause we're gonna be the ones that have to deal with that shit. Anyways, let's go find Arthur's missing bounty hunter, Carson. Carson is located in the same apartments as Mercurio, and when investigating his room, he left a message saying he got a lead and we could find the files on his computer. Using his computer, his password is Amalia. Huh, interesting. I wonder if that'll come up again. So we find out his lead sent him to a tattoo parlor. When we get there, the tattoo parlor is sketchy as hell. It's the type of place underage people would go to get some ink. In the basement, we find nobody. But we do get a phone call. The caller is looking for McGee, who is Carson's bounty. After telling him we're looking for him too, the man suggests we meet and talk at Gimble's Prosthetics. The prosthetic place is honestly really nice looking, and we meet the man Gimbal himself, and the only way I could describe this man is dandy as fuck. I mean, just listen to him.
Oh, yes, forgive me, my name is Gimbal, Stanley Gimbal. But, oh dear, let us dispense with formalities. You can call me Stan.
Since Gimbal was incredibly nice, we get to know him a bit better. He expresses his love for helping people, and when we notice he's wearing a prosthetic himself, we ask him about it.
I came to realize that I would never truly reach mastery in prosthetics without knowing what it was like to have to use one.
Wait, what? Where is this going?
And so I decided, quite out of the blue actually, to cut off my own arm. My work, as you can well imagine, has quite improved since then.
You fucking did what? Okay, I mean, it worked, but holy shit, dude. So, getting back on topic, Gimbal says he has some files on McGee in the back since McGee had an appointment with him, and Gimbal goes off to fetch them. Well, his front office looks really nice. You got a water cooler, a lamp, a couch, a paper about the vicious murder we saw at the docks, I wonder how the back looks like. Ah, shit. Exploring the back room, things are clearly wrong. In one room, we got a worn out bed next to what looks like a torture chair. Some sharp tools, which is weird since, you know, Gimbal should be replacing stumps and not creating them. And to fully spell it out for you, a room that looks like the Kool-Aid Man busted a fat nut in. Yeah, this dude is crazy. Reaching the last room, which is the operating room, we find Carson in a cell, warning us Gimbal is crazy, which is, by now, a no fucking shit moment. Gimbal comes out and tries to attack us. Unfortunately for Gimbal, I've played this game about 6 times, and I decided to give myself some, extra experience points. With Gimbal dead, Carson explains Gimbal has been cutting off pieces of him and McGee, and now Carson has to retire because Gimbal decided to take his trigger finger as a trophy. Also, I like to mention how I just turned Gimbal into a fucking blood bomb and Carson ain't mentioning it. Either this is something the writers didn't think about, or Carson is smart enough to know the golden rule of shutting the fuck up. With that done, we could go back to Arthur to let him know the news. Because of this, Arthur is now low on men and still has a job that needs to be taken care of. Since you're not an actual bounty hunter, your job is only to find out if a man named Muddy has skipped town. Muddy was recently acquitted of a murder case and has gotten into trouble of some petty crimes and is missing a court date. His girlfriend happens to live in the same apartment as you, so there's where our search should begin. But actually, this leads to nowhere. You go into her apartment and find out Muddy has left to downtown LA. But that's not the end of the quest for now. Finally, let's meet Miss Therese Vorman at her club. Once inside, we are stopped by her sister Jeanette. She basically welcomes you to the club by saying she is down to fuck anytime, anywhere, and honestly, just look at her. It'd be kinda hard to pass up that offer. Sadly, we can't take it because she has some business to attend to. After asking the bartender, who looks like the type of goon you could find in a Punisher comic, we can head upstairs and meet Therese. But first, let's dance. Now that that's over with, let's go talk to Therese. Oh. Okay. Looks like we're gonna have to wait a bit because Therese and Jeanette are in a fight.
20 minutes later.
I can't even look at you sometimes. Oh, Cherie, you really do kind of
6 hours later.
one big joke. Don't you call me that. Should I start calling a duck a pig as well? I'm your sister. How can you treat me like this?
Jesus Christ, finally. Wait, am I allowed to say Jesus Christ as a vampire? Whatever. Inside, we finally meet the woman herself. And let me say, I know people love Jeanette, but something about stone cold killer women gets me going. Unlike Jeanette, greeting Therese is much more formal and straight to business, which goes to show how polar opposite these two are. When asked about Bertram, she assures us his exile is out of his own fear and she didn't intend to follow through with it. But since he's such a pain in the ass for Therese, mainly because her sister and Bertram are fucking, and this will be surprising when you see him later, she doesn't intend on telling him it's okay to come out. Also through this, you learn that Therese absolutely does not trust Jeanette with the business and considers her a necessary freak show to lure people in. By now, you know where this is heading. In exchange to call off the feud, Therese has a job for you. Therese is the owner of a property hotel that is being haunted by a mean-ass ghost, and she needs you to exorcise that bitch. Or, not like workout, like exorcist. Oh shit, whatever. Oh yeah, ghosts are actually totally real in this world, along with a few other things we'll talk about later. To get there, Therese gives you the keys to a sewer gate you're gonna have to go through and assures you that she is straightforward with her deals and she will follow through. Now, I know I did mention I'll talk about the other clans in the game for when characters like Therese show up, but don't worry, I'll go over Jeanette's clan when we get through this next section, which is probably the best in the game. One trip through the sewers later, we come face to face with the Ocean House Hotel, and from the get-go, it's creepy as hell. I mean, come on, you already know it's haunted as shit. This is a job for like fucking Bill Murray and not some random ass vampire. When going to the doorstep, a light bulb pops off, which is basically a warning shot. But with the door locked, we need to find the key. There's a little portable nearby that has the key to the door, but the door behind you gets locked and something hits your portable hard. So apparently this ghost is strong enough to send a fucking bulldozer at you. Yeah, this is gonna be great. Finally, we enter the hotel. The atmosphere is intense, which gets even more intense when the chandelier falls from the ceiling. Huh, must not be a fantasia. Looking to our left, we see what appears to be a girl running away into a hall. Let's check that out, shall we? Excuse me, miss. Do you need... Wait, what the fuck? What do you mean he's near? Oh, shit! Okay, now that I changed my underwear, let's read this little paper. Huh, it looks like the hotel was once a pretty big deal. Alright, let's head upstairs. Are you fucking serious? Okay, let's go through this hallway and we got a runner. Great. Following the woman, we're led into a room with another newspaper. It looks like a kid was decapitated and their head was placed in the laundry room. Man, I actually really hate to go there. Ah, fuck a duck. When opening the washer that looks just like the one the kid's head was placed in, we find a boiler room key. Great, now we're gonna need to beat fucking Freddy Krueger's ass. Inside the boiler room, we find a fuse box to get the lights working, and then all hell breaks loose yet again. Nuts are flying everywhere like you're at a gay stripper bar. Let's see, we got steam coming out of orifices like a gay stripper bar. Lights are going crazy like a gay... You know what? You get the idea. With the power on, we can finally use the elevator to get out of here. When leaving the elevator, we see a ghost pointing to something at the table. Huh. At this point, I kinda wanna say fuck these ghosts, but I kinda trust this one. On the table, we find another newspaper that says another child was killed by being chopped up like firewood. Okay, by now this ghost has a kill count that would make Pennywise proud. We check some rooms, and after a ghost leaves a very friendly message on the walls, we find a key to another room. Going to the other side of the building, we find the ghost woman again, this time pointing to the room the key belongs to, and at this point we should know this ghost is friendly like Casper, and is trying to help us out. After yeeting the floor itself, we fall into the bar room, and here we find yet another paper because apparently ghosts just have a subscription to this shit. And now we learn of a murder-suicide where the killer murdered somebody, killed himself, and lit the fucking hotel on fire. That's a hell of a way to go out, to be honest. We take a tiny baby elevator used to transport tiny baby shit, which leads us into the kitchen, where we find a diary and finally get some answers. A family booked their stay at this hotel to enjoy a week-long vacation. The family is enjoying the stay except for the father, Ed, who keeps asking the mother about her new locket. The mother actually received the locket from her mother, but Ed thinks it's from a secret admirer, and is clearly trying to hide his jealousy. The mother thinks Ed will get over it since, to her, it's not a big deal, but as time goes on, Ed goes into full baby McTantrum mode and holds onto it, and eventually ignores the family outright. Oddly enough, the only time Ed seems to be in better spirits is when he's talking to the groundskeeper about tools. But I'm sure that's just friendly conversation, right? Anyway, the mother notices Ed is starting to have an intense obsession with the locket, even catching him staring at it for long periods of time. Finally, Ed goes missing for longer than usual, and the son decides to go looking for his father in the basement. Oh no. Okay, so from here, we know the boy who was decapitated was actually Ed's son, and once that was over, Ed stuffed his own son into one of the washing machines. After this, the mother mentions if they don't hear from either of them for too long, she'll send her daughter a look. And from here, we could assume it's possible the daughter might have caught Ed in the act of hiding the body and was chopped up for it. Finally, this leaves the ending of their story. The mother sees Ed covered in blood and locks herself in the bathroom. At this point, Ed is saying he wants to be with her forever, and we know how that ends. Followed by this, we could assume by the last paper we read, Ed decided to light the building on fire before killing himself as a final fuck this to the world. Well, that was some shit. But now you know Ed's secret, and Ed does not like that. Once you finish reading the diary, the kitchen erupts into a massive explosion of pots and pans and fire spewing out of the stoves. Eventually, a door is broken open and you can escape, but those pots and pans did manage to kick your ass a bit. Finally, we're at the home stretch. You make your way into another elevator shaft, but something actually doesn't feel right. Oh shit! An entire elevator, Ed? Fucking seriously? Okay, this dude is not playing games anymore. Going up the elevator and grabbing Ed's axe, Ed makes his final stand. He throws everything that isn't bolted down at you and starts breaking entire walls apart to fry you with the steam pipes. The dude even starts throwing this really cool looking ghost fire at you. But after that ordeal, we finally reach Ed's room, and this gives us one of the rarest moments in the game, and possibly something we won't even see in the sequel: actual sunlight. This will probably be the only time in the series we'll get to see sunlight, so take a moment to appreciate it. We find the mother's pendant on the table, and we are thrown back into darkness. At least we get a nice view. Huh, there's a cargo ship in the distance. Wonder if we can ever ride one of those. With the pendant, we got what we came for, and we could finally say goodbye to the Ocean House Hotel. Like I said, this is easily one of the best parts of an already great game, and experiencing it on your own is definitely worth it, cause this video really can't capture the atmosphere and the suspense this level brings. So let's fulfill our end of the bargain, shall we? And tell Therese we have the "oh hi Jeanette." Therese isn't here at the moment, so we chat up Jeanette, who does her usual "no seriously, let's fuck" routine. We mention we have the amulet for her sister, well, pendant for her sister, which makes Jeanette insist we give it to her. Okay, look, I like Jeanette, but I have a bad feeling about this, so let's save this amulet for Therese only since the deal was made with her. This unfortunately makes Jeanette break down as she tells you that she knows what her sister thinks of her.
I'm not just some silly doll, you know. All my life, my sister's made me out to be a joke. She told you I was an embarrassment, didn't she? That I couldn't tie my shoes, let alone hold on to something for her. Is that it?
You can't help but feel bad for Jeanette here since it's clearly bothering her. But again, a deal's a deal because we really need Therese to call off the feud. Jeanette is still sad, but she has a job for you. There's a gallery opening up by some rival kindred, and Jeanette would like you to slash some paintings and take the charity funds. Seems easy enough, so we agree, and when we do, Jeanette is back to her regular sexual self again. So heading to the gallery, we see something in the distance. You know, some would mistake this for a work of art, like a painting or a statue, but instead of those, we have a Greek god before us, the pinnacle of peak human performance.
Oh yeah. Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's thick, boy! That's a thick-ass boy! Damn!
This sex icon of a man is guarding the gallery, and he's our ticket inside. After some flirting, we get down to business. I'm talking face down, titties up. God damn it, I hate myself. Once we had our feel, he'll be in a daze, and we could swipe the gallery key and get inside. Here we have to slash the paintings in a certain order, but for some reason, these paintings tell the story of Cain, the man who committed the first murder killing his brother Abel and was cursed by God. After slashing the paintings in the right order, we get some more supernatural bullshit, cause I guess the Ocean House Hotel wasn't enough. Killing the Blood Guardian, our job is over, but we're not gonna take the charity box, cause even for vampires, that's a little mean. So let's go see if Therese is...
You. What were you thinking? The museum. That was my event.
Oh,
Did you think I
shit.
wouldn't find out?
Turns out Jeanette lied to you and had us wreck her sister's event. And Therese is kind of furious with you. Fortunately, we can calm her down by giving her the pendant and the diary, which, by the way, if you would have given them to Jeanette, would have been tossed into the fucking river. Therese takes a moment to consider you were tricked, and then she says she's willing to call off the feud with Tongue. But guess what? There's another fucking problem. Therese made some threats to her sister and believes if Tongue hears about the threats, he won't believe the feud is over. Seeing how Therese claims the threats were idle and only involved burning some bedsheets, this should actually be easy enough. Therese tells you she set a meeting up with Jeanette at the diner, but since the mess that happened at the gallery, she can't go herself and asks you to make sure Jeanette forgives her. So, going into the diner, what the actual fuck is going on? Okay, whatever, Jeanette should be in the back. Fuck a duck. It appears I have made a mess. But never mind, we got a phone call waiting for us at the back of the diner.
I'm terribly sorry about that. My sister was just furious about your refusal to take part in her designs, so she sent those men to kill you. But I'm going to make sure it never happens again. Drop by. We'll take care of this tongue business.
She's crazy! Help!
Oh, for fuck's sake, we need to go see the sisters fast. Finally getting to the room, we see Therese pointing a gun at... Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So now, this is where I finally talk about Therese and Jeanette's clan. She is a Malkavian, and Malkavians have a bit of a unique situation going on. Malkavians are the heirs of Malkov, an ancient 3rd generation vampire. Clans inherit traits of these founding vampires, and Malkov had some problems. Malkov was mentally ill, and because of that, all descendants of Malkov are afflicted with some type of mental illness that can range from what we're seeing now with multiple personality disorder, to some really unique stuff like what the playable Malkavian has, which implies that they can actually see into the future, similar to Rosa. Enough about that though, cause we got some shit to sort through. Therese and Jeanette are at the climax in the relationship. Each has had enough of the other, and violence seems like the only answer to the situation. Here we find some interesting things about the girl's past. From what we can tell, Therese is actually the original, with Jeanette being the personality that later formed itself. Both live with their father, but were not allowed out of the house very often. And then we get a very, very disturbing piece of info.
You'd love the world to think you're a saint. When you thought I was asleep, I used to hear Father come in at night. I heard him whisper how much he loved you in your ear before he... Don't finish that sentence, or you're dead!
Christ, I thought Ed's backstory was fucked up, but this is seriously disturbing. Now we start getting both sisters' point of view on the other. Therese has always looked out for Jeanette, and always cleans up her messes, because she cares about her, but she can't stand how Jeanette tries to spite her and goes against her. Jeanette, on the other hand, claims Therese has always tried to smother her. She says Jeanette blames her for every little mistake and is actively trying to take control of her life. And I gotta say, at this point, I think both sisters have a point. But I think I could see some sort of way to resolve this. Until we have an actual fucking nuclear bomb dropped on us.
Father came home drunk one day and mistook me for Therese because I'd fallen asleep in her bed. Don't listen to her. She's lying. Therese walked in while he was there, and she saw me lying with him, and so she went to the closet and pulled out his hunting shotgun, loaded it with deer shot, and blew his mind out all over the silly clown wallpaper. It's a lie. Father killed himself because of Jeanette. She made him miserable. As I recall, he died with a smile on his face.
What the actual fuck? Okay, this is getting really disturbing. Let's just end this shit before I end up on a watch list. There are 3 endings to this scenario. Jeanette kills Therese and lives, and vice versa. Or we can get the good ending, where we solve this shit and get on with our way so we can finally blow up some fucking warehouse. We tell Therese to let Jeanette have some more responsibility.
More responsibility.
Shut the fuck
So
up,
that she can
Therese!
ruin-
Then we tell Jeanette to stop intentionally hurting her sister.
But I only do it for
Shut the fuck up,
attention
Jeanette!
and out of love.
By some sort of miracle, the sisters end up coming to an agreement and forgive each other, and finally we get Tongue's location from them, along with the feud being called off. Now we can finally say goodbye to these two.
Please give Santa Monica's regards to the prince, and keep your tongue tied about what happened tonight, or we'll have to kill you.
Okay, I need a nap after all that. So that's it for Too Long Didn't Play. Tune in next time where we talk to our old buddy Knox again, finally meet Bertram himself, and blow that godforsaken fucking warehouse up that has taken us 2 episodes to get to. But to see that, you gotta be subscribed, so make sure you do that. Turn the bell notification on since this will be the channel's main series for a bit. Anyways, I'm Chris from Genuine Chill, and thank you for chilling with me while I talk about some dope ass lore.